Hello. Welcome to the Overlook Hotel. How can I help you? Ah, yes. You're here for the winter caretaker position, aren't you? Well, it's not your first time in Colorado, is it, my friend? I would sure hope so, considering the winters here can get very, very cold. Now, let me just make sure you're in our system. If you could just give me a moment. Yes, help yourself to a drink. Now, Mr. Grady. Perhaps wouldn't be related to a Delbert Grady, would you? No. Well, it's perhaps a distant relative. It is a shame, however, how Mr. Grady left us. You don't know. Well, several years back, Mr. Grady, Delbert Grady that is, was our winter caretaker. And let's just say the winds of a cold winter night in a lonely hotel can really drive someone crazy. You see, Mr. Grady didn't take too kindly to the hotel. You see, the Overlook has many visions, and it can make you see the wrong one if you can't handle yourself. You see, Mr. Grady brought his family with him. He butchered them all and killed himself. Now, a sad story it is, but a long, long time ago it took place, so I'm sure whatever horrible demons reside in this hotel are gone. And you, Mr. Grady, have nothing to worry about. Neither does your family. I assume they'll be joining you. Is that correct? We have you down for 3. Wife, I assume? Fantastic. And who will your third guest be? Your baby boy. Okay. Well, I'm sure your child is going to love the hotel. We keep our games room unlocked and ready for playing anytime you need. I remember Mr. Grady's twins loved that place. And they would be running through the hallways, having fun, laughing. I'm sure your son would love to do the same. Oh, yes, and you and your wife will have plenty commodities. We keep our kitchen stocked and full for the winter especially. I'm sure you won't have the same meal twice. Anything from steaks to ice cream. Whatever your heart desires, Mr. Grady. You can also visit our bar. We'll be sure to keep that fully stocked for you, sir. Now, I have you staying in one of our suites. Hopefully that'll suffice for you and your family. I'd imagine you want to stay close to each other. Fantastic. Now, your boy, does he like Indians? Well, we have an Indian room and a bear room. Whichever theme would suit him. Usually the children like to gravitate more towards the bears. It's a little friendlier. Okay, I'll put him in that one. Now, a little bit of ground rules for your caretaker position. When you come, as I said before, the hotel is yours. Feel free to roam around and enjoy the commodities. I understand you're an author. Is that correct? So you enjoy writing. I enjoy it myself. Some of my favorite authors, however, my all-time favorite author is Stephen King. Fantastic man. Have you heard of him? No. Okay. I highly recommend checking him out when you can. Perhaps the hotel's library has a couple of his books. I'd recommend a couple of them. Okay. Yes, I believe our lounge room would be fantastic for you to maybe crank out a few hours in typing and writing your book. I'm sure you would love it. It's peaceful, it's big, it's quiet, and it has this beautiful staircase. Just wonderful. You might want to run up and down it 127 times. It'll really help you out when it comes to clearing your mind. Oh, yes, Mr. Grady. Clearing your mind. It's going to be something you're going to want to do. As I said before, the winters here are very, very, very cold and extremely lonely. Now, Mr. Grady, before we get into any more information, rules, I'm going to need you to go ahead and sign this contract for me. Go ahead and read it over. And when you're ready, give it a sign. While you do that, I'll be inputting some more of your data. Yes, I can assure you everything on the contract is up to date and accurate on what we previously spoke about. Please, if you have any questions, let me know. Fantastic. Okay. I'll keep this one in our file. You can also enjoy our ballroom right by our bar. However, you won't have anyone else to dance with. Perhaps your wife and you will enjoy a little one-on-one date night. We keep our records stocked in the back toward the bathrooms, so you can always play some tunes and enjoy the night. Yes, you'll want to keep the firewood nice and warm, considering the hotel can get snowed in even sometimes with the heavy winter weather over here in the Colorado mountains. Yes, Mr. Grady. I'm just going to go ahead and get your room key pretty soon. Is there any more questions you have for me? Coming in contact with anyone in case of any emergency? I'm sure the previous Mr. Grady would love that. Just a joke, sir. I apologize. However, in my office, we do have a ham radio, just in case you do need to come in any contact with anyone outside. I do have to say the signals can get scrambled at times, especially when the hotel gets snowed in. However, there is an emergency line in case you need to reach any fire or authorities, or maybe even an ambulance, in the unlikely event someone would get injured. There is another, I would call him a caretaker, considering he knows everything about the hotel, everything about what you need to know to take care of the place, everything in the kitchen, and pretty much every inch of this place. He does stay in a cabin across the way that will definitely help you stay happy and satisfied. He can always come over just from a call, and he can help you with anything you need. Yes. I'll be sure to leave his contact information by the radio for you. Fantastic. Yes, Mr. Grady. You'll be alone. You and your family will have contact, but for the most part, this place is huge. You'll most likely not be in contact with your family as you all go your separate ways. It is empty, so a nice yell will be able to get everyone's attention, I assume, considering the halls echo with any voice or sound that comes by. We do have some construction as well, so I would advise the boy to stay clear of those areas. Whenever you need to relax, just go ahead and stop by in one of our bathrooms. Some of them are master bathrooms that are just huge, a full room to help you relax. Be careful though, because that's where Mr. Grady said he had his wildest visions. I sure hope you're stable everywhere, Mr. Grady. Have you ever had any thoughts of hurting your children? Perhaps your wife? Yes, I do understand everyone has their disputes. However, I need to make sure that whoever is staying here will not repeat the unfortunate events that Mr. Grady had to act upon. I can trust that you're mentally stable. So, I'll go ahead and have our usher take care of your luggage for you, bring them to your room, and make sure that all your needs are kept. And most importantly, taken care of before we head out for the winter. I'd assume everything is up to date and up to par for you. Is that correct? Fantastic, Mr. Grady. I wish you luck. And if there's anything you need, please feel free to contact me on the radio. I'll do my best to be by as fast as I can and be available as much as possible. Yes. I do have your room key here. Let me get that for you. You'll be staying in room 237. A favorite of ours. I'd say it's a very special room. Most of our guests advise that it's probably the most elegant, and it has a shining view of the outdoors. Unfortunately, considering it's winter, you'll see nothing but snow. Here's your room key. I'm sure you're going to enjoy yourself, and let me show you. On the back of your room key has all of our information. Now, the phone number on the bottom is my personal cell phone. Feel free to call it anytime you need anything, and please just don't hesitate to call. Yes. I'd advise not going outside, but we do have our maze out in our yard. It's a pretty big hedge maze, and I would advise just staying away from it during the winter. It can get very cold, almost to freezing temperatures. However, in the unlikely event you do need to evacuate the hotel, or perhaps get onto the roads, we do have a snowplow out back, but the battery sometimes can die out in the cold weather. We do have freshly stocked batteries right by the snowplow itself, so if anything were to happen, I would advise to go check it out. once again, Mr. Brady, stocked within our freezer are a bunch of different foods. However, I would advise not spending too much time in the freezer, as it would get cold and can drive anyone insane. Is there anything else I can help you with, Mr. Grady? Alrighty. I hope you have a safe winter and a wonderful time with your family. As I said before, feel free to call me and ask me a question anytime. Thank you. Have a great time with your family, Mr. Grady.